Welcome to WYCD Wicked, that stands for What You Can Do. It's your old pal Jake, and boy, we're doing this one early in an attempt to not step on the toes of Left Past 10. I have already screwed up that stream enough this week. Let's say hi to everybody. Pinkerbell, good to see you. Domenico, hello there. The Anti-Corporatist, hello there. Let me look up and see if I do mean autophagy. Search Google for autophagia. Autophagia occurs when one is compelled to inflict pain upon oneself by biting and or devouring portions of one's body. I'm going to chew on my lips less. Apparently I do mean autophagia. I'm stealing somebody else's quote, but don't worry, we will credit them in a little bit. Pendulous Dragon, hey there. Good to see you. Public Utility, hello. Wicked Earthlings, hello to you too. Still laid up in the hospital, says Pendulous Dragon. Surgery in the morning, yikes. Hopefully be home tomorrow night sometime. Keep us informed. We like you. And hopefully it all goes well. I believe it will, because you are good egg. The world needs them, and I think that will carry you through. Nice tie, Jake, says Pinkerbell. Thank you. I like it. Don't get a lot of chances to wear it. Oh, Anti-Corporatist, I was talking about it literally yesterday. How did I miss that? How did I miss that? I don't know why this word is going around, but it's a good word. So good pull yourself, sir. An actual cloud. Hello, Perd Beer. Hello. A shameful day? Why a shameful day, Perd Beer? It depends where you're looking. It's a great day in Tennessee, I'll tell you that. Shade Dragon, phagia doesn't involve the desire to inflict pain directly. Literally, it just means to eat oneself. Personally, I'm not flexible enough for that. I try at least once a year. One day. One day. Autophagy is when you water fast long enough for your body to start recycling some dead cells it never gets to. I see. I see. So we're actually talking somewhat. They are related, but they are not the same concept. But what I'm talking about is really, I'm taking too much credit. You and the person I am stealing from, but have credited, have a much larger vocabulary than I do. I'm aping somebody else's quote, but we'll get there. What do you say we get to the news? I mean, I'm curious to see why we have viewers believing it is a sad day, because in some cases, oof, I tell you, most of this is just about how screwed Donald Trump is. Oh, wait a minute. We got something before the news. It's belated, but it's important enough to do it anyway. One of the finest human beings ever produced by planet Earth is shockingly located in Nebraska. And that person's name is Kowalski, a.k.a. Prairie Fire, a.k.a. Tall Daddy Leg, a.k.a. Mean Daddy Slim, a.k.a. the Octagon Kowalski from Nebraska. He's run for office. He's considering running again. He has our full support, even though he's a rat bastard who plugs other people's shows during my show. And he's 30 this week. So, as a 30-plus-year-old gentleman, I thought I would welcome Kowalski to our ranks. And I hope the rest of you, whether you are gentlemen or 30-plus years old, or from Nebraska, or farmers, or considering running for office, will join him and welcome him and congratulate him for making 30 trips around the sun. My gift to you, Kowalski, is the first 2 links in the description. As a 30-year-old man, I'm sure you've now felt the call. It begins as just a mild curiosity about how flintlock pistols actually worked. What's a frizzen? Why was there a little lever that the flint smashes into? That's how it starts. Or you wonder, what kind of hat was Napoleon wearing? But what it becomes for all gentlemen of a certain age, and it begins at 30, what it becomes is a fascination with with Napoleon and the Napoleonic Wars. Can't resist it. We should be a little grateful for Napoleon. Before him, people would hit 30 and then just sit around wondering what they were wondering about. And it was the Napoleonic Wars. They just hadn't happened yet. So now that they have happened, what we do is watch documentaries about them. First link in the description is for a delightful series collectively called Sharp's Rifles. It stars Sean Bean. I won't give you any spoilers as to how things turn out for Richard Sharp. But starring Sean Bean, fantastic series set during the Napoleonic Wars. Then I have a series of videos, a playlist about Napoleon in Egypt. That's from Extra History. That sounds boring to the rest of you. I assume you're not a gentleman over the age of 30. But if you are a gentleman over the age of 30, you've already seen it, and these are great recommendations. Happy birthday, Kowalski from Nebraska. Now, actual, well, that is actual, but different news. Different. I have a theory. Donald Trump is basically David Miscavige. He is not L. Ron Hubbard. L. Ron Hubbard, in the analogy we're making here, the Trump QAnon cult. L. Ron Hubbard would be I don't know. Newt Gingrich, actually. Yeah, Newt Gingrich would be L. Ron Hubbard. Trump is David Miscavige. He is the cult leader who took over and has made the cult a little more mainstream and is extraordinarily litigious. Here's Owen Morgan, who knows what he's talking about, a.k.a. Telltale.
Trump came along, Fox News was in the process of building this cult out.
Behind us. He has surrounded himself with spirit-filled people. So pray in the spirit over him. Here he is.
You'll note that ain't Trump. There's a church worshiping the cardboard cutout of George W. Bush. Yeah, this had begun already. Had begun already.
Come to visit us. Yes, Lord. Thank you, Jesus.
And
Tell him, Mr.
right
President.
there. Look at all those young faces. What do you think happened to them 15 years later? What do you think they're doing right now? All those people that were doing this. George W. Bush, a guy that lied and probably got some of their relatives killed because of that lie. What do you think they're doing? People pretending as though they feel the touch of God for a largely unsuccessful embarrassment of a president. I think they're doing. Two reasons I don't like politics and religion mixing. Reason number one is it cheapens politics. Reason number two is it cheapens religion. Or I should say it makes a mockery out of both, if you prefer. But I think it cheapens. I mean, if I'm being real with you. I think it makes politics into a show, and it makes religion into a gamble. Better hope the guy we said is like a messiah acts awfully messiah-like, because I said God told me this, and God is not wrong. So either we are all wrong about God, us fellow believers, in this hypothetical situation, or I lied. You are following a false prophet. Better hope. What do you think of this person? Do you think this person admitted they were a false prophet?
President. One nation under God.
Isn't this like idol worship? Isn't that what's happening right now? They're not worshiping a person. They are apparently seemingly worshiping a representation of that person.
I don't think that's fair. I know I made the same. I made the joke, but he sounds like he's being serious about it. Let me be clear. They're not worshiping the cardboard cutout. But I do think it's idol worship. I think they're worshiping the office of the presidency. Imagine if in Jesus' day, some Christians, let's say 10 years after Jesus' day, some Christians started worshiping the coin changers, or the office of Caesar. It's the same thing, and I think that is idol worship. I think they're worshiping a thing, a presidency, as opposed to an entity, which is supposed to be God.
Person. So the point is that the cult existed long before Donald Trump came along. He just grabbed the reins of control and used it for his own ends. Before Trump came along, Fox News was in the process of building this cult out.
Agreed. It was. Smooth transition. So just be aware, Trump is David Miscavige. He is not L. Ron Hubbard. This is a religious political cult. It is unfortunately, it's not like they've combined religion and a politics of helping people either. They've the kind of people that are okay with lying about politics, unsurprisingly, are the same people that are okay with lying about religion. Nothing is sacred to them, including the name of God. And I'm not saying that to rile people, and I apologize if it puts you on edge, but I'm being literal. I'm discussing that subject matter, and I mean what I say, importantly. They are the people leading that branch. They know they're lying. And they don't take the religion they pretend to care about seriously at all. And they certainly don't take the practitioners of it seriously. And they should be run out of town on a rail. Tarred, feathered, run out on a rail. Just for the insult, you know. Let's see what y'all have to say. Whoa, going back up. We got a lot. My dogs are goth. Good to see you. Domenico, hello. Be right back. Fair enough. Oh, wait, I said hi earlier. Public utility. Oh, we're talking about autophagy in adipose tissue physiology. Oh, I can't even read your comment. I cannot. I mean, I much less pronounce. I can't see the letters. I can tell that they are fancy and correct, but I'm not capable. I don't have the neurons to process the information. Oh shit. But credit for getting it up there anyway. The anti-corporatist. I'm in social currently. It's 85 and gorgeous. SoCal. I'm an idiot. I'm in SoCal currently. Shade Dragon. It's 85 and gorgeous. That's amazing. Oh. The anti-corporatist saying, may have to get out my MacBook Pro to be able to say hi to everyone. Yeah, you're getting bombarded, man. By the way, let's pause for a moment. I like your show. It's just got a good vibe. Just chatting on a road trip, man. That's a good vibe. Wicked Foxy Dragon. Oh, yeah. God told me we are all... Well, yeah. God, scientists. Sure. The anti-corporatist BRB can barely hear and need my better headphones. Fair enough, I'm the same way. Oh, he said it in those words, too. Fair enough, Wicked Foxy Dragon. Oh. I'm reading through. Scott Ward, hello there. Good to see you. Oh, my volume is maxed and it's not loud. All right. Let's fix this here and now. This has been getting a little bit quieter every time. So let me just mess around with it for a second. Fix that. Oh, that is maxed. Ah, I see. How are we now? Testing. All right. Output. Testing. Are we louder yet? How about now? Well, that looks good. How about this here? How about, I'm trying to say things at the same time. It's all cranked all the way up to the right. All right, gang, I see. I've got a limiter on there. Ha! Hold on, I'm learning. All right, let's just have a look and see if that's better already. That's louder. Okay, good. Too loud. How about that? I think okay, that should be better. How about this? Crazy idea. I'm just gonna keep the microphone by my mouth instead of being a goofball the entire time. Or a little bit more. And there we are. Okay, gang. So, would you believe it? Donald Trump is still in trouble. He's in more trouble. He's in increasing trouble. He's pissing off judges. Reverb. Loud. How about this? Hopefully. In fact, out. Good news, everyone. Much quiet. Oh, say over and over and over. Mic test. Not even registering. Well, folks, here's the deal with our good friend Donald Trump. Turns out he pisses off judges a lot, and he shouldn't play poker. Here he is outside the courtroom today, not bluffing all that well.
The witness just admitted that we won the trial, and the judge should end this trial immediately. Thank you.
Did you miss that? Let's try that again.
The witness just admitted that we won the trial, and the judge should end this trial immediately. Thank you.
A witness just admitted that we won the trial. That's what he said. A witness just admitted that we won the trial. And yet, the trial's still happening. I wonder if he might be in a bit of trouble. I think so. I think Donald Trump is not too far off from just admitting he's got to plead guilty and hope for the best. That was in his civil trial, by the way. Not exactly a proud moment. He looks defeated already. I love it. Pathological, it says Pinkerbell. Public utility, pathological liar, textbook psychopath. ENC bio. Oh, sure, trial over, buddy. Yeah. Oh, just utterly embarrassing. Here's the context, folks. Donald Trump is getting just clobbered in this trial. Judge Arthur Ngoron is sick of his nonsense. Fined him $5,000 the other day for violating a gag order because he forgot to take slander off of his website, wherein he's running for president. Think about that. He says go to votefascistasshole.com or whatever it's called. And on there is a lie that is so egregious that a court order demanded it be taken down. After doing that, he goofed around with the judge again. He was forced by the judge for the first time that I'm aware of, at least, in this slew of trials. He was forced to go up and testify and explain himself because he appeared to be picking on the law clerk. Trump said, I wasn't picking on the law clerk. I was picking on Michael Cohen. And the judge said, This is true. I don't believe you. I just don't believe you. I don't think you're a credible witness. I asked you to come up here and tell me what you were doing. You said what you said, and I think it's a lie. I think you're a liar. I'm fining you $10,000, and they're going to appeal that. Okay. The judge is running out of patience. Unfortunately, the judge is a judge in the United States of America. You ever see somebody that gets mad enough to hit somebody, but they're not mad enough to hurt somebody? You ever see that? You ever see somebody who's like, that's it. I've always wondered what my line is, and I just found it. And now I'm going to do violence. But I don't want to really commit to this. So what do? They clobber whoever they're going to clobber by punching them in the breadbasket. Hit them in the stomach or something. That's what these fines are. Trump knows he can handle an infinite number of these because the people he's conning will pay for them. Everybody knows that. The judge wasn't trying to hurt Trump. He was trying to warn Trump. The judge is going to have to go for the nose next. Trump's going to have to spend a weekend in jail. He will not. We talked about this at the beginning of this channel. Republicans do not understand things like adults understand things. They have the morality of children. On Kohlberg's scale of moral development, they would be ranked at 8 to 9-year-olds. The kind of morality where you define things based on whether or not there were negative consequences for it. If there were consequences, then you think it was bad. And if there were not consequences, then you think it was good if you are a child and you are not very developed yet. It's around the time you get to be a preteen that you start defining things in terms of whether or not it is legal or illegal. Trump is in the childhood stage, and so are, from what I've seen, just from their behavior, so are basically all conservatives in the United States, around the world. They do not define things in terms of principle. They do not define right or wrong in terms of general principles. They define right or wrong based on whether or not somebody got in trouble. They will not believe Trump is really and truly lying until he spends a night in jail. Trump will not believe he is wrong until he spends a night in jail. Truthfully, he'll probably never believe he's wrong. I mean, he doesn't have concepts of right and wrong like that, but he won't respect Engoron until he gets a punch in the nose. He's going to have to spend a night. There's just no way around it. Let us, however, turn to some great news out of Tennessee. Pause it there for a moment. Give myself time to set this up. Yes, okay, there. Great news out of Tennessee. We've been talking about one of the worst creatures ever to take the form of a human being, and that is, of course, Gabrielle Hansen, some filth whose name I just finally learned, and now I can forget because she will not be the mayor of Franklin. Voters soundly reject Gabrielle Hansen, other MAGA candidates in historic Franklin, Tennessee election. Bada boom. Franklin, Tennessee, in perhaps the most bizarre race that interesting call letters. In perhaps the most bizarre race that this picturesque Middle Tennessee community has ever experienced. Weird way to start it. Phil Williams. Phil, you're a great reporter, but let's see how this continues. Franklin voters resoundingly rejected a candidate for mayor who openly embraced white supremacists and Christian nationalism. Should have let him get the whole sentence out. That is the heart of the story. Incumbent Mayor Ken Moore easily defeated Gabriel Hansen, a local real estate developer and first-term city alderman who faced one controversy after another, namely hanging out with Nazis. White supremacists showed up at a candidates forum in a show of support for Hansen, who refused to distance herself from the men despite broad condemnation from fellow aldermen. Final election results, here's the good stuff, show Moore garnered 12,822 votes, or 79.4%, compared to Hansen's 3,322 votes, or 20.6%. We should understand, there are 3,300 people in Franklin, Tennessee, who are okay with Nazis and who vote. That's a problem. However, take heart, there are 12,822 people in Franklin, Tennessee who are not okay with Nazis and also vote. The election results also brought a decisive defeat for other MAGA candidates for aldermen at large that had been supported by the far-right Williamson families PAC, including Jeff Feldman, Patrick George, and Gary Moore. Hey, gang. We need to start tracking these PACs. Do remind me. This is how we find the worst of these people and track them. Watch for foulness like that. Williamston Families PAC. That is going to be a bunch of rich secessionists. They want to be slave owners in name as well as in all but name. The challenges of this election have made our community stronger, Moore said, as he and his supporters celebrated their victory. I'm sorry, I'm laughing at the fact that he is also a conservative. We are only going to be kind of screwed as I am in charge, instead of absolutely, completely fucked. But all right, now let's take the W. We all know we live in a great community. We must keep it great. Hansen refused to allow media to attend their election night event, which reportedly cost $500 a person to attend. Here's the deal. All of you should run for office. Wait, even if none of you really want to win, in your town, just keep an eye on the absolute latest day you can file for anything. And if there's something where it's like just a Republican running, y'all should just put your names in. Just put your names in. Just give people the option. But most importantly, charge $500. I mean, the only reason you're going to be running is to charge $500 a plate for a dinner afterwards, like at the end of the thing. And put the most disrespectful food on it you can. Just do a PB&J, an IKEA PB&J. Put a loaf of bread and a jar of peanut butter and some jam on a plate and let people build it themselves. The Franklin aldermen, if people are willing to pay you to attend your victory event, they're gullible and deserve to have their money taken. Hansen refused. Yes, the Franklin alderman became the focus of a series of News Channel 5 investigations that began while she lifted social media images to falsely portray support for her campaign, including posting a photo of a diverse group of women. That's when we first talked about her, who told News Channel 5 Investigates that they did not know her and did not support her campaign. In addition, she angered families associated with Nashville's Covenant school shooting. Jesus. Sorry. Passing on a bogus conspiracy theory. Trying to have fun with this. Let me move on. She claimed to have warned a Franklin police officer in advance of a premonition about an active shooting. God. News Channel 5 investigates obtained the officer's body cam video to prove it never happened. News Channel 5 also revealed that Hansen had been arrested for promoting prostitution in Dallas in the mid-90s. That's the only thing I'm on her side with. And despite her opposition to Franklin's Pride Festival, we uncovered a photo showing her Speedo-wearing husband at a 2008 Pride Parade in Chicago. As the campaign continued, News Channel 5 uncovered apparent links between Hanson's campaign and a harassment campaign waged by her white supremacist supporters. Critics also raised concern about links between Hanson's campaign and Christian nationalists who want to use politics to impose their faith on others. In addition, Alderman-at-Large candidate Jeff Feldman was the focus of other News Channel 5 investigations, including his inflated campaign biography, of course, and social media posts in which he threatened to use guns against unruly kids in his West Haven neighborhood. As a result, I'm reading this because they earned it. As a result of News Channel 5's revelations, the influential West Haven Conservatives group rescinded its endorsement of Hanson and Feldman. Final election results showed Feldman received over 4,000 votes compared to 10,000 for incumbent Ann Peterson. Hey, gang, people that didn't vote for Hanson also would not have voted for Feldman if they had been able to keep track of who that was. I promise you, that extra 1,000 votes came from folks just saying, and one of these people, whatever. You might get in office because of that kind of attitude. A genuine progressive might get in office because of that. Bear that in mind. But we need to stop and thank somebody, first and foremost. Obviously, News Channel 5. News Channel 5 did a fantastic job of staying on this, digging up the dirt, making sure we know about it. But Wireless Mike, we all in the Wicked community knew about this because of you. You told me about it multiple times. You kept this in on our radar. I like to think that this gained recognition in part because of what you were doing. I don't know how many times I talked about pogo sticks, and then pogo sticks turned up in my algorithm, and as a result, somebody else's. I don't know. But if it's ever happened, it happened with this, because you gave it every possible opportunity. What's more, you're in Tennessee currently, and you are influencing the culture there. And I don't know what specifically was the straw that broke this fascist camel's back, so I can only, or rather, so I choose to assume that it was you. Good job, sir. I'm proud of you. Shade Dragon, a premonition of a mass shooting. Like she haunts those forums and saw the manifesto but just really needed attention. Oi, yeah. My dogs are goth. Also thinking Wireless Might. Absolutely. Absolutely. PNC Bio. I understand the confusion, but no, it's not Callahan's Channel 5. It's literally News Channel 5. A Tennessee local news station. I gotta say, they are amongst the best in the country. I will have a hard time, and I mean this sincerely, I will have a hard time saying anybody other than WDIV is the best local news station in the country. But 5 is a contender. Hello, Christy Z. The anti-corporatist. It's like WYCD, Detroit's best country. Yeah. Ugh. Public utility, Trey Crowder. I don't know the relevance, but he's fantastic. Public utility. Our enemies tell us our vote doesn't count. Yeah, they have a tendency to do that. Gabrielle. It's pronounced Gabrielle. Well, I don't need to pronounce it anymore. But I'm sure no matter what way I move my mouth, no matter what way I flap my lips, I will say it wrong. And you could walk me through it. You could put your hands on my face and try to move it correctly. I will get it wrong. Oh, Gabrielle, I see. Oh, like Xena's friend. Okay. Ryan Barry, hello there. Anti-corporatist, God bless you. I am an actual unironic idiot, though. I'll try desperately, but it's just gonna bum everybody out and make them wonder how I get into my apartment. Let's just thank our stars that it is no longer plausible. It's no longer not plausible. Further proof. It's no longer necessary. There we go. Oh. Why do I have this? Oh, right. I realize that there was a whole Speaker of the House, blah, blah, blah. Not even going to talk about it. With the unpacking of Mark Meadows flipping still needs to be done. Oh, shoot. Before that, though, there's even more unpacking on the same thing. Let's talk about that. Ladies and gentlemen, I am excited to introduce DOJball. Yeah, I think we should start playing something I am not even remotely tentatively, but passionately and enthusiastically calling Dodgeball. Who's next? Who is next? Here's the idea behind this, folks. Place your bets. Good gosh. Really? Still going down? There we go. Place your bets. What I would like us to do, pick from this list. Who's next? Who's next to be found guilty, or to declare their guilt, or to flip and take a deal because they say they are guilty and terrified? Who's next? That's the idea. That is what we're doing with Dodgeball. I'm going to leave that up there for a little bit. So here's the rules. Y'all decide amongst yourselves. And Wicked, Foxy Dragon, and Pinkerbell, and Anti-Corporatist, if y'all three would look through whatever people seem to be saying and add in your own votes and find out what is the most common thing. Should we submit this by email? Should we just keep it in our heads? I think probably just keep it in our heads and talk about it. But pick who you think is next. Let's go over some of these people, and I'll explain what my reasoning is for what my choice is. We have got, of course, Donald Trump, Rudy Giuliani, John Eastman. I don't think we need to go over them. Jeffrey Clark. Then we start getting into people that are a little less known. Mike Roman, David Schaefer, Sean Still. These are all people involved in the Georgia attempt to overturn the election. Sean Still, Stephen Lead, Harrison Floyd. For those of you that don't know, if you had to guess which of the people named so far actually had to spend time in jail already, of the people up here, of the people pictured here, hint, hint, of the people with varying shades of guilt, let's say, who up here already had to spend time in jail, weren't let out? I'll give you another hint. Georgia is in the South. Harrison Floyd, leader of Black Voices for Trump. We also have Trevian Cuddy, publicist who tied to election worker intimidation, awful human being. Kathy Latham, Ray Smith, Misty Hampton, and Robert Cheeley. Here's my vote, Robert Cheeley. Right at the end there. Why? He is an attorney. And he is not terribly associated with the rest of this. He's just a pro-Trump lawyer. Ray Smith is also a great choice. He is another attorney, Trump campaign attorney. it comes to, honestly, you know what? I switched my vote. I'm putting in my official vote as Ray Smith. Closer to Trump and attorney, not politician, seems to be the pattern most closely followed. I already said Cheely, though, didn't I? Doesn't matter. It's a flip a coin between them, but I can't choose two, so I'm going to make my final call Ray Smith. Just arbitrarily. Ray Smith. Attorneys both understand the gravity of the situation better, and they have enough knowledge to get in real trouble, you know? They have enough knowledge to have well and truly themselves over in an attempt to steal for Trump. So I think the next person to flip is going to be my dodgeball pick for this round is Ray Smith, fella in the bottom there, the Trump campaign attorney. Just realized something. Did I lock it in? I did lock it. I want to go to Chile already, and it's purely, this is like betting on ponies. It's purely superstition. But okay, I'll stick with Smith, because they're basically the same eyes. You also have people like Georgia GOP chair and fake elector David Schaefer. You could have Sean Still. He's a fake elector and a state senator. Oh, my God. Consider this. What will happen if Sean Still pleads guilty? Is he going to be kicked out of the state senate? Power might change because of this. Stephen Lee, he's a pastor tied to election worker intimidation. Motherfucker. He's going to be tied up in the understand, like, the Giuliani case will affect this as well, rather significantly. Those election workers, we know who they are because they know who they knew who they were, and they treated these people so brutally. These people, the filth on the screen, not the big hairy one, but the rest. Are so low that they harassed an old lady and her grown daughter who were election workers as a fun hobby that helps people. So we know who they are, and they got the January 6th committee to eventually talk about it, and now Rudy Giuliani is in court over it. Who do you think? Who are your picks? Let me know. What you can do. Domenico says, I also have still been researching to stop any and all potential nuclear wars. Well, good on you. Pinkerbell saying, I'll be Schaefer. I'm going purely off his face and vibes. Absolutely. Pendulous Dragon. Yes, yeah, we were talking about that. Let me know if you have any other bets, and I will read them during this segment. Maybe next time. We'll do this segment, I think, pretty regularly until we have an answer. But the way things are going, that could be tomorrow. So give it some thought, folks. If you would like to check out that little graphic, it is on WYCDnetwork.com under the tab DOJball. That's WYCDnetwork.com. DOJball. Oh, God. He's genuinely Donald Trump. He's so... I can't... It's it's bad when it's at a point where I realize I've got a finite amount of hours in an afternoon, and I have to not talk about some of the horrible things happening to this guy if I want to talk about anything else. That's how fucked he is. All right. now that we talked about that, let's finish talking about Mark Meadows yesterday, because I had thoughts on that. I frankly think it's more important than the developments today. Let me just say, there's a new Speaker of the House. It's some fascist psychopath. Not a surprise at all, but good news. It was such a cluster that people will likely remember it around election time. What's more important than anything else? What's more important than anything else is that people's impression of Republicans has shifted. People used to think Republicans are responsible people, and if you just want to be known as a generically responsible person, the thing to do is say, "Oh, I'm a Republican. I don't really follow politics that closely. I just..." No. Now, if you say you vote Republican, that's like saying, "I'm a clown jackass who's in a cult. I'm a Moonie." I mean, that's essentially what you're saying. If you say you're a Republican, you're saying you not only don't understand politics, but you have a commitment to breaking things without understanding them. You have a commitment to being an irresponsible dickhead. Nobody's going to hear that you're a Republican and think, "Oh, I should trust you to drive my car or effing coach our kids or run a business or invest money or have a loaded firearm or have an unloaded firearm or operate heavy equipment or have a spare house key." Not even because you'll misuse it, you'll just lose it. Now when you say you're a Republican, people think that means you cannot be trusted to put your own pants on. Much less it being a political identity that you can pick up to try to seem like a responsible person. That is the ultimate victory. Onward and backward to the most important immunity deal perhaps ever issued in the United States of America. Mark Meadows flipped on Trump. We did not fully digest that. I feel that we should, because it is gigantic. It means everything. I mean, at this point, it's really more of a question of how hard and how quickly will Trump crash. I truly don't believe, I'm sorry to tell you this, I don't believe we're going to have much of a trial anymore. I think by the time it gets to the actual gavel knocking time, I think we might get a couple days maybe before Trump shamefully says he wants to change his plea. or more to the point, right before the trial, like on the eve of the trial, or like minutes before it's supposed to start. There's going to be we're going to get an announcement of a delay, and that's going to be when the prosecutor and the defense and the judge are all talking in a room together. And then the bailiff is going to go inform us that there is no trial. Here's why.
On election night 2020, with votes still being counted, Donald Trump made that very premature victory announcement, launching what would become a widespread fraudulent effort to convince voters and lawmakers and the courts that he had won. But now we know, courtesy of ABC News, that Trump's own chief of staff at the time, Mark Meadows, believed that Trump's victory statement was dishonest. He reportedly told special counsel Jack Smith's team, "Obviously, we didn't win." And we know that because ABC News is reporting tonight that Mark Meadows has entered into an immunity deal with federal prosecutors. According to their sources, Meadows has testified at least 3 times, including once before a federal grand jury. A lawyer for Meadows, however, is disputing ABC's reporting. Lawyer George Terwilliger said to NBC News tonight, "I told ABC that their story was largely inaccurate. People will have to judge for themselves the decision to run it anyway." Joining me now is Joyce Vance, former U.S. Attorney for the Northern District of Alabama. Joyce, thank you for being here. I find us in a strange position where we think
I like Joyce Vance. I want to hear a little bit of what she has to say, simply because it's Joyce Vance, and I think she's an interesting gal. But for the record, all I wanted was that intro by Alex Wagner, because that's what got me thinking. We're going to talk about that in a moment. Quick break. Domenico, what of the goal for 43 blue states and 7 red states? Explain that to me, if you don't mind. While I'm doing the rest of this, I saw you also said, yes, like Jerome Powell, that man is costing this nation dearly. I agree. But can you explain the 43 and 7 to me? I don't quite follow that. I think that's a reference to an earlier segment we did, possibly, with Let's Talk Elections. But just let me know. If you can type it out and explain it to me, and at what you can do in it, I'll read it after this segment, because I would like to. That sounds interesting. Let's hear what Joyce Vance has to say.
he has an immunity deal, but his lawyer is pushing back against that. And then there's an open question about why there's no immunity deal in Georgia if there's one in the federal elections case. How do you sort of read the tea leaves in all of this?
Right. So I think part of the confusion, Alex, may be over the fact that there's a difference between someone who is indicted and who decides to conclude a plea deal with the government. They plead guilty and they agree to cooperate in exchange for favorable treatment. That's the sort of cooperation deals that we're seeing handed out down in Georgia. Meadows, though, I think is in a different category. He has been offered immunity in exchange for his testimony, and perhaps using the verb offered is a little bit misleading, because when you're immunized, you really no longer have the option of not testifying. You have no Fifth Amendment right, nothing that keeps you from testifying. The only real question is the government giving you what's called use immunity or transactional immunity. Use immunity just means that your testimony can't be used against you. You can be prosecuted, but your own testimony can't be used. In transactional immunity, you're actually being given immunity from prosecution for the subject matter that you testify about. So it sounds like Mark Meadows has testified pursuant to a grant of some form of immunity, but he's not actually a cooperating witness.
Aha. Does that explain why there's no deal in place down in Georgia, where he has been fighting that indictment since it was first handed down?
I think it could, and this is such a curious situation because you don't expect to see a witness or a defendant plead guilty to criminal conduct in one place and not another place. And in essence, by testifying under a grant of immunity in D.C., Meadows is preserving his ability to walk this tightrope that he's been walking all along, where he cooperates just enough to avoid indictment, just enough to avoid getting on the criminal side of the line without really conceding he's done anything wrong.
Well, Mark.
Yeah. And he didn't, on January 6th, he didn't order anybody to charge the Capitol. He just sat there being criminally negligent. And he expressed to Cassidy Hutchinson that he knew what was going on and intended to do nothing about it. I think he is going to throw Donald Trump under the bus so hard that Trump's teeth are going to scatter across the sidewalk before the bus even runs him over. You'll only find out when you do the frame by frame of the traffic cam footage. That, I think, is what. Let's take the lightest version of that, transactional, use immunity. The lightest version, the worst version of immunity for us, theoretically. It's the worst version for us if you are excited about Donald Trump getting some bracelets. But do recall the frustration I was expressing when this first came out. I was frustrated because you shouldn't need to give that much to Mark Meadows. You shouldn't need to give him a pass on all this. I don't think he has a pass on all this, based on what I just heard. I think he has agreed to testify about things that the government already knew was true. True about Mark Meadows, true about Donald Trump, true about the whole sordid affair. I think he's agreed to testify about that stuff, and I don't think he got immunity from all of those crimes he was involved in order to do it. Simply cannot have his testimony used against him. That is what would make the most sense to me. But let's take that as granted for a moment. Let's assume that would mean he also gave the least amount of information. After we found out that this took place in September, this deal, whatever the deal consists of. After that, the lawyers began to flip. It was after that Sidney Powell flipped, and then Kenneth Chesebro flipped, and then Jenna Ellis flipped. It was after that. That, to me, is telling, and that is what I wanted to present to you. On that graphic that we had, we discussed, rather, on that graphic that we had, Mark Meadows was the first amongst the lawyers to switch sides to any degree. Scott Hall, he's a bail bondsman. Understand the relevance of that. Scott Hall got a whiff of what was coming. He lives close enough to real life to not want to mess with that at all. He's actually physically seen the inside of a jail cell before. He said no thank you. But then Mark Meadows struck a deal. Now, I don't think that the investigators said necessarily, we have a deal with Mark Meadows. I think the investigators went to these lawyers, Chesebro, Ellis, Powell, right before their trials, and said, this is the evidence that we have that we're required to turn over to you as part of the trial. Are you sure you want to go through with this? Very telling to me. And I think when we look at the sum total of the events this week, the revelation about the immunity deal, whatever form it took, that's what killed Trump's defense. There's simply too much truth out there already. It hasn't even started yet. Trump's trial hasn't even started yet. I have serious doubts as to whether he will even make it to trial. The next person to flip on Trump, I know I said it was going to be one of the lawyers. Forgot I still had that. I know I said it was going to be one of the lawyers. But the next, but the next person to flip on Trump might genuinely be Donald Trump. Somehow. Well, that woke some folks up. Let's see what the wicked community has to say. Oh, scrolling down. Okay. Oh, God. Shade Dragon. Funny that a bunch of self-proclaimed anti-vaxxers really seem to appreciate immunity in court. Yeah, funny that. Domenico, oh, here we go. Here we go. Let me read through this for a second. Yes, I will elaborate. So approximately 80 million Americans, maximum, seem to maybe still be clinging on about the Republican way in real time as of now. And Domenico continues. Domenico continues. So what if they only had 7 U.S. states carry out their way of life, as opposed to what they approximately have now? Intriguing. Keeping in mind and heart that they are, let's estimate, 320 million Americans that are closer to our way of life, and that volume of Americans have 43 states. Would have 43 states to live how we live. Thus, as a goal, because we can agree the Republicans and all like them seem to be making real progress to keep imploding. On. Also, the whole 1.2 billion Americans thing. I don't know what that refers to. I assume population growth. That there will be, because that is a fact of the future life, that there will be that many Americans in the future, so why not prepare accordingly now? That I agree with. You're right. A couple generations from now, that's not an impossible number. 320 doesn't need to be multiplied that many times to get to 1.2. 330, excuse me. All right. So I still, if I'm honest, I still don't understand exactly the through line of 43.7 there. I get what you're saying. Like, percentage-wise, if you were to break down the political beliefs of the actual people in this country, the Republicans would fill about 7 states, and Democrats would fill about 43. But that's just another way to discuss the problem of gerrymandering. If you're pitching that as a way to explain what's wrong, no argument here. I think that's a concise way of explaining. But it dawns on me that I'm missing something. As always. How about this, though? I will look it up. It sounds like the beginning of an interesting concept that I would like to at least understand, even if I don't pursue it myself. Mars Falcon, Johnson came into Congress with Trump, elected in 2016. Woof. Christy Z, Mars, I heard he was a hardline conservative, Johnson, who voted to overturn the 2020 election. He is. Mars Falcon, before his Congress job, Speaker Johnson worked as a lawyer for the Alliance Defending Freedom, an anti-LGBTQ plus group, and defended Louisiana's same-sex marriage ban and abortion laws. Yeah, he is a bigot, and he has been an active bigot. He is also a traitor, and has been an active traitor. He needs to be out, for sure. But it's worth noting, Jim Jordan is as bad as him. Kevin McCarthy is as bad or worse than him. This guy was their, not third choice. I don't even think he was their fourth choice. He was like their fifth choice. And I think fourth official nominee? Maybe not. Oh, no, Scalise. Yeah, fifth nominee. The point is they had to go down the line. I doubt they vetted this guy fully. We don't even know the scandal yet. You think we know scandals right now. They're scandals to us. It's the kind of thing that you and I would think are awful. We haven't even heard about this guy's mistress yet. We haven't even met this guy's illegitimate family yet. We haven't even seen this guy casually using the N-word in a social media secret recording that happened in 2017 and everybody should have known about, but we were too busy trying to keep the world from collapsing because Donald Trump was a problem. This guy was their fifth choice. They're screwed. They knew about Jim Jordan's sex abuse scandal, and he was their third choice. They're screwed. Good. Screw them. Jade Dragon, seriously though, if you can avoid it, don't have kids in the U.S. Move somewhere else if you want kids. Not worth it here. I can believe that. Wicked Foxy Dragon. Well, federal prison camp is kind of like a country club. Yeah. I mean, my man was in a prison camp, but I wanted to go to do crime, so I could go to a prison camp. I needed a vacation. It's sort of the whole you're not allowed to leave thing. That's the issue. Amanda Patton, what would you say to a 7-year-old that is relatively impartial? That's intriguing. A 7-year-old that is relatively impartial. I would say to that 7-year-old, two things. Number one, enjoy being 7. Worry more about how people work. Worry more about how individuals communicate. Learn to understand what it looks like when people are lying, what it looks like when people are telling the truth, the difference between a defensive lie and an offensive lie, things like that. Learn people first and foremost before you worry about politics and letting adults weigh you down with their baggage that is unnecessary and probably going to hurt you in the long run. That's what I would say to the 7-year-old. Thing number one. Thing number two, never trust Whitey. Tinkerbell, this speaker fiasco was so embarrassing for Republicans, and I love that for them. Me too. I'm gonna do something. I like the vibe. This Amanda Patton. Make her a mod. Make her a mod. Why not? Seems like a good egg. Jade Dragon, this man tried to make sure nobody got to decide what to do. Oh, this is in quotes. This man tried to make sure nobody got to decide what to do with their lives, and we are hoping he gets put in a long time out. If we're just talking about Trump. Yeah. Soul Life, so many live streams. Yeah. The Anti-Corporatists. Hi, Amanda Patton. Welcome to the after party. Oh boy, is this the after party to Anti-Corporatist stream? Interesting. I suppose it is, yes, because I went on very shortly after you, man. Christy Z. Foxy, I've had friends and exes do state and county time, but never fed. I think Trump would still be a mark. I have had people do time. Yeah, I'm going to move on. We should not have the prison system that we do. It's just torture. I don't mean that as like a being blasé about this. I mean it's literally just torture. Time to get to the quote. Flux Phase wrote this below that MSNBC video. GOP autophagia is saving the nation. I agree. By the way, here's what you can do about that last video. Turn the Republicans against each other at every possible opportunity. Let them eat each other. That is good for all of us. When one says they want to take away Medicare, tell the old. When another says they want to raise the voting age, tell the young. Find the groups they're attacking within their own ranks and make them aware of the attacks. It's that easy. When your grandpa says they support Trump no matter what, when he says, I support this new government, blah, 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 do you know that they want to end your Medicare? Do you know that they want to cut Social Security? Are you aware of that? Because they do. They want to reduce your benefits. Are you aware of that? They could keep your benefits exactly as they are if they were willing to tax just billionaires just 1% more. They refuse to do that. Instead, what they say is they want to cut taxes, but they never mean your taxes. They only mean rich people's taxes. Were you aware of that, Grandpa? If you weren't, now you are. Let's keep it going. Nah, you know what? I gave you this. Look, Trump was ordered to take the stand. He was fined by Judge Engoron. In the description, I'm going to give you one quick wicket, and then I'm going to call it a night. In the description, there is a link to sign a petition. I recommend you click it. I recommend you sign the petition. That petition asks the government to televise Trump's trials. We have a right to see it. Ask everybody you know to sign the petition. Ask MAGA types to sign the petition so they can make sure Trump isn't being mistreated. You sign the petition and ask the sane people you know to do that so that the MAGA types have an opportunity to see what a corrupt, miserable fuck this guy is. I feel the venom. I feel it. I don't want to. So I'm going to be a good lad. And I'm going to tell myself now that I'm going to go do push-ups. And then instead I'm going to have a bowl of ice cream. Instead of doing any working out at all. And I'm going to go work on Fight Night, y'all. I want to get that cartoon done. Just to say that I did it at this point. Here's hoping it's ready for Halloween. But at 10 o'clock on everybody else's channel and 10:15 on this one, we've got the next Left Past 10. I hope y'all will be there. I'm going to pop around between people's channels and say hello. It looks like a fun conversation. For the record, my internet was out, but nonetheless, Andrea was right. I missed it just because I forgot. Could have been there. Could have been there. Wasn't there. Just forgot. All right, y'all. Thank y'all for joining me tonight. This has been WYCD Wicked. That stands for what you can do. My name's Jake. I'll see you next time.